know more about Wasted 360 Solutions, and these are my group members. That's Chelsea, John, and Daniel. Say hi.
Hi, good
Hi.
evening. I'm so sorry I had to reschedule over and over.
No problem at all. We won't take up much of your time. We'll just let's start. Should we
Yeah,
start?
let's go.
John, do you want to take it forward?
Anna, so just to start off, can you tell us more about the company? Just a general
Very
overview of what exactly,
open-ended question.
like
Okay,
just to start
Like
off,
your
so we can.
personal journey, like what led you to start India Wasted?
also a very long answer. Okay, so I'll just tell you what Wasted is. We started as a sole proprietor firm to just make sustainable action fun, easy. Didn't know how it was going to make money, what I was going to do, nothing. I just wanted to understand the issues in my neighborhood. I would only find data from across the world, across the country, across the state, but it was all conflicting. And I was not able to understand, what is the actual problem when in India you have informal sector, but why do you have dump yards? So I was just trying to bridge that gap and I stumbled upon something called zero value waste. So anything that cannot be um, given to a scrap shop, for example, in exchange for money. So we just termed it zero value waste and we started collecting that. So cigarette butts, Tetra Pak, torn and stained clothes, innerwear, anything that we use today, and we don't have a use for tomorrow, but that cannot be a raw material. At least like paper, plastic can be a raw material. Unfortunately, all of this stuff, what goes to the dump yard, cannot be used. So that's what I thought I'll focus on because there were enough eyes and conversation on plastic, but nothing about, or even good condition clothes and things like that. But nobody was talking about what I call hidden plastics, right? So there's cigarette has cellulose acetate, clothes have polyester, cosmetics have, versions of microplastic in their packaging and in the products from the beads in face wash. So I could just see it everywhere. And I thought that, okay, source segregation is the real problem. I named the organization Waste Ed, like waste education. And then I realized that everybody has the awareness. They don't have anything actionable that they can do. So that's what I thought I should get people towards, not just awareness, but something actionable. So we thought, okay, the simplest thing would be to tell people to bring any waste that they have to places they already go to. So that was a problem in terms of I didn't have any investment for fleet or setting up a place. So it just made sense to be like an aggregator. In business terms, you want to look at it, it's just a person who is the middleman between the person who generates the waste and the person who recycles the waste. It's just that it's more complicated than that when you go into urban areas and Indian context. We don't have infrastructure. There's just not one recycler. Recycling is a myth. It doesn't actually happen. It gets downcycled or it gets upcycled or it gets reprocessed or incinerated. But um, we wanted to make sure that every waste is a resource. And if we so segregate it, it'll be better. But the way we present ourselves is just to make sustainable action fun. We tell people that, you don't think about segregating good condition for NGO and paper plastic for informal sector and, tablet strips or x-rays or cigarette butt for more detailed recycling opportunities, right? So you just bring us everything. We will put manpower from unskilled labor, maybe even informal waste workers who don't get access to clean waste. So that's kind of the thing that differentiates us. We don't leave unskilled labor out of the workforce. Most of the people who end up starting waste management companies work a lot with people they hire, but we try to take informal waste workers, sanitation workers, and upskill them to be able to manage different kinds of waste, not just paper and plastic. So yeah.
And would you say that, like you said, that what makes your approach different from other recycling or waste initiatives in India is the fact that you're focusing on hidden plastics as well as the workforce you depend on. Is there anything else that makes your approach different from the other normal initiatives, waste?
Largely that we also follow a drop-off model. most waste
Okay.
management companies come pick up from you, like Trash to Cash or Eco Crew or anyone else. The process is heavily um, petrol and logistics driven. A lot of waste gets moved. For example, cigarette waste, there are very few recyclers, maybe SRCC University, there's a project, and code effort in Noida. So everything is in that side of the country, which means even if someone in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, anyone else collects, we all have to make sure that it gets dropped off there. So from that portion of it to us, right? We are all urban users, high income group areas. They are the ones who drink, smoke, buy fast fashion, travel,
Mm.
pollute, right? But the climate crisis is faced by the low income group areas. And even though they are part of recycling, like if you just take the workforce of informal waste workers, it just seems a bit unfair that we are not able to give them the kind of livelihood that waste can actually generate.
Okay, makes sense. And like you said, you explained the overall business model, but can you like explain it step by step, like how the waste is collected to how it maybe reaches the input
Okay.
process, the whole process and the output. Like,
Okay. So back in 2017, 18, when I started, I didn't have access to any, you know, my dedicated center. Plus, I was still working in a job. I used to work in a software company that develops apps. So we started tracking these overflowing dustbins. On my free time, I used to do like animal rescues and try to find out, like volunteer at shelters. Like 90% of people who work in waste management come from this background. Like they either working on civic issues or animal activism issues. And so I wanted to, there were enough people in Chennai that work in animal welfare. So while tracking these overflowing dustbins, I realized that plastic is the main issue and low value plastic, like chips and biscuit wrappers. So I could
mm,
not understand how to get people to like collect it. So I thought that, okay, let's focus on places where people anyway go to school, college, office. And also these places have access to eco clubs, environment clubs, Rotaract clubs, NSS, all these chapters. While you're a bootstrapped agency, you can't afford people, right? So you
they
heavily
have to
depend on
depend.
social work students and volunteers. So anyone, and it's difficult in the context of India because there's poverty and hunger and education needs, whereas environment is the last thing people think about. So I didn't want to start an NGO, that was pretty sure. So I was trying to do data collection, to be honest. I did not know where to go without understanding like what is being generated. So I worked with an organic store that was very close to my house. I just told them that your audience anyway sustainable. Let me start with you. Let me understand what waste can come in. So the communication we put on social media is just on Instagram, and we work largely with on-ground partners like RWAs, Resident Welfare Associations, right? So they represent different areas and groups, and they talk to the regional counselors. So in through that channel, what we ended up doing is just ending up seeing these kinds of waste like Tetra Pak, or before pandemic, really nobody drank milk in Tetra. It was a very new problem, and but this organic store was near full high income groups on the place where a lot of expats also stayed. So we could see that usage much earlier in plant-based milks, and that became the first thing for us, like drop-off points, especially for zero value waste. And that's how the news got picked up. I didn't mean to collect only Tetra Pak, but the fact that we were collecting Tetra Pak, everybody found out, and I didn't want to send it to paper recycler. I didn't want to upcycle it. So we just troubled Tetra Pak for like 6 months on their website till they reached out to us, and they kind of funded this drop-off model. They saw that it was working. They saw that people are coming and dropping off Tetra. They didn't want to enter the Tamil Nadu market. Otherwise they were getting called out as greenwashing and like doing greenwashing in some way, because they used to run they still run this program in Mumbai called Go Green with Tetra Pak. It's still a great program. It was implemented by an NGO. So since it was implemented by an NGO, they couldn't do a lot of things that would get them outreach. So they want to try a different model. we onboard. I was still a sole proprietor firm that time. They didn't even have that in the vendor onboarding. So, they were like, okay, this model seems to work. People, for no gratification, they are coming and dropping off dry waste with you because you're showing them the transparency. So we will not approach it through EPR. We look at it like a outreach, behavioral change sort of program. So that's pretty much how we grew. We didn't take any grant, any investment. We actually went directly into the market and thought that we would. So I stumbled on. I have a TED talk about it, so I'm not going to get into it too much. You guys can watch it later. So I talked on this topic called extended producer responsibility. It'll help you guys to read about it. So it's implemented by the Pollution Control Board of every state as well as the Central Pollution Control Board. It basically means that any product that has plastic in the packaging or in the product, which pretty much covers your cosmetics, your FMCG brands, like everything, right? The producer, or manufacturer, retailer, and distributor of that product have to put in certain money to collect it back, either infrastructure for the local government, like developing a resource recovery center, and collecting all sorts of plastic. And the second most important thing to know about this is it's brand neutral. Like Coca-Cola can collect Pepsi's, or any other competing brands, and Coke will still get the benefit and the EPR credit of that entire spend. So whatever infrastructure they put, so they end up spending on small organizations in this way, and that's how we pretty much grow. We are still bootstrapped. We've never taken any money from outside, and we self-sustain now. We tried every revenue stream. I would never say no to anything, and until like it was the third or fourth month. And when you're bootstrapped, you know what to like pull. If you have unlimited money, you will keep like spending it on things. Like you can take some calculated risks. Like Swiggy launched Swiggy Minis, and Swiggy had to take back Swiggy Mini, and it worked in some markets, it didn't. So it was the same thing. People told us a thrift store won't work. We tried it, it kind of worked. We tried it online, then we tried offline in a very small scale. Then we took a dedicated space to run our own dry waste collection center and a thrift store, which it started breaking even in the second year, and now it's having really good year-on-year growth, which has got us also good, like for being a bootstrapped organization, we've got a good valuation. And for putting 0 rupees in, that's the way I look at it.
Then, like you mentioned, you guys didn't take any grants and it was a bootstrapped organization. Like, so
Yeah,
for sure, you would have faced a lot of challenges. Like, so what were some
yeah.
of the biggest challenges you faced, like when you were creating this model, and how did you overcome them?
I think it was to convince people to work in this space. I largely like I can't hire people in management, right? I hire from low income groups, and to get them to work in this space in context of developing nations, people don't live lives of dignity, even if you're employed in the Taj or whatever. Every sector has its issues, right? And waste management
Mm.
has huge issues, especially informal waste workers. They're not affiliated to any department or anything. And that's the kind of people you need working in waste. So to convince them that the waste is clean, that the waste is, not really waste. They were like, ma'am, why are you dealing in textiles? There's no money in that. They could not even see resale markets as something that was important. And honestly, I was trying to just stay away from a problem. There's mafia in waste management, and it's best to like just stay away from the whole thing
Yeah.
if you can help it. But that's only if you get into paper or plastics or any of the high value things. People just think that I'm some girl who runs an NGO and I make no money, so I'm not a threat to them. But and plus the thing is, I'm also not a materialistic person. I didn't want to start a thrift store. It's easy to say that at like 35, but younger people, like the point is not to tell them not to shop or not to, only to choose second hand or anything. It's just to show them circularity, that it can be fun, that if we are in the center of the city, that it can also be something that's accessible to everyone. So yeah, that's pretty much our tagline: making sustainable action easy and fun.
Mhm. And like you said, maybe they perceive that you're not a threat to them, the mafias.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
do you think that you're a threat to them maybe now or in the future based on your impact or based
No,
on the revenue?
I think we are solving very different problems.
Uh,
So they are so focused on plastic and they have a lot of insecurity that plastic might not be available as a material anymore. Honestly, I don't think that's ever going to happen in my lifetime at least. So we're still going to use plastic. So I don't know why they're so insecure. They're never going to deal with textiles because they've put up crores of investment in setting up plastic recycling facilities and infrastructure. So honestly, if anything, it would only be if which is closely connected, like the government departments, ex-employees like PCB or the municipality or the corporation, they end up starting their own recycling companies. And if they finally figure out that you don't have to fight with anyone for 2 rupees or 3 rupees per kg difference, and that you can sell something for 200 or 300 when you technically got it for free, that's when the problem will start. But I don't think they're really going to play that game for a while.
mm.
So
And when you mentioned like us, like did you when you started your journey to this organization, were you alone in it? Who helped you? Like which location where did you start it and who were the ones who helped you start it?
yeah, so when I started, it's pretty sad to say, but most people didn't believe in it, including my family. So it was more like, and I get it. Like, it's not like I really believed in it per se. I just was trying to get data for myself. So it was not something just look at it like something that I was just starting, and some people just came and joined me. They're
Okay.
like, oh, you're collecting Tetra, let me join you, right? Oh, why are you
Okay.
collecting Tetra? No, no, I'm just wondering what goes to the landfill. Oh, I'll tell my apartment, I'll tell my school, I'll tell my husband's office to collect. So it was a very, but what will you do with it? I'll make sure it doesn't go to dump yard. Like I won't. I'm just trying to find solutions. That's why the company is also called Wasted 360 Solutions.
Mm.
It was just everything that I was personally trying to learn. I was showing people on Instagram, and I'm also an introvert, so it was really difficult to put my face out there. But I was just sharing the information that I learned, and that was also important to me. There was a lot of noise around that time, how I was in the cine industry, and then I chose an alternate career, and I didn't want the press or anything to pick up that. Then they would devalue my business and be like, oh, she was an actor, so
Mm.
that's the PR she's getting, which would be completely unfair. So I purposely kept my face away from it. I just put up pictures of the waste that I would see and share with people that, hey, did you know cigarettes have plastic in them? Did you know that torn and stained clothes don't get recycled? Just stuff like that, that there's no solution for innerwear. Like, what do you do with your innerwear? And it's a very difficult question to ask, but they were just like, oh, who is this person asking these questions? And we also didn't really get wasted. I think there's some handle already called Get Wasted or something. So I just named it India Wasted because most of the solutions I wasn't getting around the South. Back in 2017, 2018, there were a lot of fair trade procurement and recycling options that I would see in Maharashtra and Delhi, incubated in different universities, but not a lot of use case. But it meant that I would see like a logical Indian or a better India article, and then at the end they'll give the contact, right? So I would
Mm.
like call them and be like, hey, can I help you out in Chennai in some way? Like I come from a communications and PR background, so can I distribute your products? Can I just do something? So everyone, whether they ran a product or a service, it was slightly related to environment because I was trying to learn. So it was just like whole 2 years. So I would say Jan 2017 all the way to March 2019 when I quit my job. I was just learning, and I would see that there would be some opportunities to make money, like in consulting, sharing what I learned. When I would go to schools and colleges, they would start like paying, something for the session for coming there, or like take care of my logistics. And I also didn't have any money to invest. My mom had already passed. My dad was really sick. He eventually passed, and they were in a lot of debt. So I couldn't leave my job and do this. Neither did I have any investment. So what seems like innovation was a lot of innovation under stress. Like, oh, how did you think of a drop-off model? I was like, I have no money. So, someone was offering free space. The space was right next to my house. I thought I was doing data collection. People just watched and joined it. It became a movement. This was not, nothing was planned.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So,
it
like,
was good.
curiosity was the main driver in terms of
I
the.
100%. I think I was just a curious cat and you know how it is when you're trying to find information on things related to the government, right? There's
For sure.
just
Yeah.
loops and loops. You have no idea, but there were organizations that were putting out data, but not related to what I needed, which was the zero value way. So the thing was, if you don't have value, they don't respect it. If they don't
Okay.
respect it, they don't count it. So
Okay.
they don't like track it correctly. Like even to find out how many cigarettes are wasted or in the market, all you can do is understand how much ITC sold.
Okay.
And then take a calculated guess that there was another 20-30% of BDs and tobacco and chewing packets, and come up with data like that. But how much ever you try to go and find articles, there will be like 10 articles that like contradict each other. And cigarette litter is the most expensive litter to clean up. It costs governments like a lot of money because by the time it's already leaching like soil and waterways. But all of the developed nations have figured it out and contain their cigarette smoking. But like developing nations don't want to do that because we just want capitalism to win, right? Like 97% is with ITC, and ITC has all FMCG. And the only reason that people forget about them, they're like, oh, ITC is so sustainable. They recycle all their paper for ITC classmate. And I'm just like, what? Every single product that we use is ITC, and they didn't even want to give out their money in EPR. They started their own NGO, and the 2% CSR also they want to like
Yeah.
take on. So there's an interesting take, few NGOs fight that tobacco companies should use 2% of their CSR to take care of cancer patients who have tobacco addiction. So they
Okay.
have this whole look, which makes a little bit of sense. But they claim that addiction is a disease and that a company is preying on it instead of using that money to rehabilitate people from
Excellent.
tobacco, alcohol addiction. Since you governments profit from alcohol sales and cigarette sales, you continue to let people die of cancer, even though you're preying on their poverty and lack of. Only when you are in worse conditions, you tend to get addicted to it. You don't have the luxury of, it was a habit, now I left it, right? It's not like that. They get actually addicted and it's a real disease. So
Okay.
yeah,
Makes sense.
interesting takes. And as
Mm.
organizations on ground, when we collect it, we want policy change. We want the information to go to local bodies who can make some grassroots change, and that's
Mm.
just some good byproduct of what we get to do. I mean, they
Makes sense.
don't really consider it, but if they need the information, we are at least trying to collect it.
And like you said, data collection for cigarette is another challenge is the fact that there is a counterfeit cigarette market along with the legal cigarette market, which is unaccounted for.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And they are the ones who put the cellulose acetate in, right? Before
Yeah.
it was just a cotton sort of
Sort of,
thing,
yeah.
but this was a stronger filter, better for you, and even the mainstream companies picked it up. So
Makes sense. You had mentioned your tagline being about the sustainable development. So I would want to know how does your innovation or your model achieve one or more of the UN Sustainable Development Goals? Because our project was mainly focused on
yeah,
that. We want
I
to know
remember.
which.
So we are okay. So can you're breaking up a little bit, so I think I got most of the question. But the SDG
Just
goals that we're aligned to are about seven of them. It's
okay.
in the fair labor that we do, dignified labor, and a lot about the environment. So keeping cigarette waste away has a direct impact on waterways because it is the most littered item in the world, and
Mm.
it's probably the only item that people can see, discard nowadays and not get judged. Like if you sat in a car and you throw a lace packet outside, at least two people will ask you in that car,
Ask
like,
you,
why
yeah.
did you do that? But with cigarettes, it's just like, oh, what else do I do? I smoke a cigarette, I'm going to drop it on the floor. So, and it obviously goes into our waterways. So I would think that every one of the 25 categories of waste that we focus on has a direct impact on land, soil, and water,
Okay.
and air quality as well. So we feel that, mobilizing, I mean, I can, give you, we have like this PDF that, aligns all our work to the SDG goals. I can send that to you.
For
I
sure.
think that
That
would
would
be
help a
helpful.
lot. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, because we end up doing so much. We run a company as well as an NGO. We started the
Okay.
NGO in 2023. In again, would not have started it if something already existed. But for sanitation workers, free roaming waste pickers, and scrap shop dealers, we could find only very generic human rights commissions looking at them as an afterthought. Whereas in states like Kerala and Karnataka, it's completely different. People, look at waste workers and sanitation workers with a lot more respect and dignity and benefits that they get. So in Tamil Nadu, we wanted to start an organization that would work with waste worker children, spouses, and finally the waste workers themselves, predominantly that are men. We
Yeah.
wanted to upskill them. We realized that none of them have ever entered a place of education. So the way that they grasp information is also really different. They have a lot of real world experience, which is really cool. So they would be like electricians without even knowing that they have all the skill set of a national skill development program for an electrician. They can like repair anything, they can fix anything. And we just wanted to make sure that they get that sort of recognition. So working with people has become like really important. However, I've been asked to step down from the trust and represent the company completely. Even though we don't have a board of directors, I have a lot of people who like advise me now from other waste
Mm.
management companies. Since I am younger in this space, a few of the older ones have kind of adopted me, and they also don't get how I do what I do, especially because they have communities that support them, and I don't have both my parents and I'm not married, so
Mm.
they find it very difficult to see how I can survive without like anxiety in this space, and I'm not doing well. Like I get help. It's very difficult to work in this space and be completely sane.
Okay.
So we have those ups and downs, and I just thought that I should detach myself from the trust so that I can give the company a real chance. There's just too much. I empathize with people, so
Okay.
to just look at it more like a business. I'm also good at that. Like convincing Tetra Pak was just us being very malleable. It wasn't us being like pushovers, like, yeah, whatever money you give, we'll take and do whatever. We had very clear-cut goals of what we can and cannot do. And that was also the first time they ever did a project in any of their offices without seeing the other company that they partnered with because they couldn't come meet me during the pandemic. So yeah, it's just going to go scale up, get some funding for we're starting like a Swiggy for waste management, like an
Okay.
app. That's kind of what I wanted to start and realized I didn't know anything and started learning on ground because I was working with a company that made apps. I thought that would be the right way to approach this, but even now I believe that tech would just be a way to do these things better and with more accountability. It's not that it's going to change anything. It's a very people first sort of movement that we hope will make the difference.
Pretty good. And till now, you have been talking from the success from the societal impact point of view. Like you the towards the end, you set the precedence to the question that I'm going to ask. Like, how do you measure success from the business side of you, like scaling up, receiving? Apart from that, like right
I
now,
mean, your
currently,
balance sheet.
that's
So how you make money, how much money you're spending, that's pretty much it, right? So the when we won a grant for 10 lakhs, not in money, but in impact measurement. So
Okay.
they kind of sent a team from Bangalore, which got us our valuation as well. They put us in the place that would, make it. So in 2022, we took a physical center and we were able to go all in with one of the revenues, one of the verticals that were making more consistent revenues, which was the thrift store. And the only thing that was a game changer for us was that it was only 40 to 50% fashion. It was
Okay.
books, furniture, a lot of other things, where in most urban areas you get it very uh, fragmented. There would be a old Delhi or market area where you can get like furniture and antiques and stuff. And then if you wanted real time thrift things, you probably have to go to city center and figure out something. And then if you wanted decor, you have to buy it on OLX or Facebook
Mhm.
Marketplace, or it was just really difficult. So we thought that okay, having a one-stop place where you can drop off waste as well as buy thrift, and we got the perfect property to experiment that, so we just got really lucky. So Feb 22 to 23, 24, 25, now we've consistently shown like year on year growth
Yeah.
of at least 40% year on year. So those are in that's just one vertical. We also sell scrap, so that's a second revenue. I also do sustainability consulting, and the thrift store also goes out for events. So not only before we used to make only money at events, now there's a passive income coming in from the thrift store, and then anything we go outside at colleges or schools when we do pop-ups or apartments, we're able to make some money even on the weekdays. So it's been really interesting to set this up. I don't spend too much effort on it in the past 3 to 4 months while we're doing this sort of restructuring, because I spent a couple of years developing the trust and making sure that that got to a good place. So most of the part of the company is, like I said, when we were a sole proprietor firm, Tetra Pak was the first client. After that, we got to do a similar project for Bisleri. It also takes a toll on you working for the polluters directly, because you can just tell that they're
Mhm.
greenwashing. And even with my audience, I was really scared that if I kept taking money from them to do projects where clearly you could see that the logo was of a polluting brand, or even in my communications, you could see that Bisleri or Tetra Pak was sponsoring some of the collection drives. But so lucky, because people grew with the organization and saw us very real time, which I guess in this day and age you do it on Instagram. But since they could physically see me, they were just like, we are so happy that Wasted's getting funds to grow.
Yeah.
So if you have to take it from Tetra or Bisleri or whoever you need to take it from, even if it's the people we all hate, Unilever, Coca-Cola, they were like, just do it, because you get to set up better infrastructure. You don't charge us for it, so there's no way you're going to make money off the public, but we'll be behind you, like, to do this. So that was pretty good from
Yeah.
our side.
Like at
And
the
even
end,
this problem, I was scared to face, oh, I gave it to you and now you're selling it for 200, 300, or 400 rupees. And that also was like completely reversed. Like, oh my God, the store looks so nice. Next time I'll send you a box just for thrift. Or, I saw my outfit or chain or bag that I dropped off and I saw someone else buy it at the store and I felt really happy. So people were really surprising me. Let me just say
Mhm.
that, especially in a conservative place like
Yeah.
Chennai, I could not, see people embracing things like this. But yeah, we're very lucky.
I mean, honestly, like bad things are always going to happen. It's better you use the bad things to do good, right? On your
Yeah,
favor.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I think the hardest thing about this whole thing was to put myself out there. Because I get exhausted by talking to people, and which meant like in the first few months, you talk to a lot of people that can frustrate you. So those conversation is really tough. Like I would go 6, 7 months into starting all this awareness. I would go for these public meetings that the government, Chennai Corporation, and the municipality would run, and I would keep asking them, what do you know cigarettes are plastic? And I'm not even in the shaming way. I would just be like,
Mhm.
guys, I have a solution. I'm not even come to talk about a problem. Like, just tell resto bars not to put the cigarettes into the wet waste. That's it. That's it. Like, literally, that's it. Put it in another drum and I'll come and pick it up even for free. Like, because again, I was collecting data, right?
Yeah.
So, anything together and be like, oh, why are you talking about cigarettes? It only has cotton in it. We are still talking about plastic straws and single use plastic. So I just realized that always when not to say that I could see the future, it's still the same with cigarettes. Still, there are people who are like, oh wow, it has cigarettes in it, and they would be chemical engineers, or they would be like, in a position of power that they should know what is this, or they would have an environmental science background, and it's just a simple Google search, and still people would fight me.
Right, right.
It's good to have that horse with blinders sort of effect. If you keep doing your own thing, the right kind of people will join you. And also, you don't need to depend on the government. Government has to do certain things, and businesses and companies have to do certain things. So, if you can focus on that and get more people to look at sustainability as a viable occupation and career, is the greatest thing you can do, right? Which is
Mm.
a lot about what I wanted to do. Everything I was seeing around me was a foundation, or they were like, oh, this is so boring, or you have to compromise on something to do this. And you could see that, no offense, guys, but a lot with male founders, they would just be like, yeah, yeah, we are valued at like 100 crores, we're going to do this, but they kill the market. They'll get the
Mm,
money and
mm,
then they'll be like, yeah, it doesn't work. It works ground up, because we,
mm,
we are a country like that. You have to
yeah, yeah,
start
for sure.
somewhere and then you can become something. But if you
Mm,
do ground up, you can definitely do something. And that's the kind of hustle culture that, you need to get into this space, and the money will come
makes
as
sense.
long as you find
We
your purpose.
also,
Like in
was this
this,
your first venture?
Um, Actually, no. I was always in a job, but I always side hustled. So, from when I was 3 to 13, I was in the film industry. I was a child actor. So, from
Okay.
13 to 18, I would write for magazines, I would model sometimes, and I've always been working. I think that was the itch that I could not cure. It's just that I don't come from a business background. I don't come from, for that matter, an acting background. But also, like everyone I saw in my family were either doctors, teachers, like teachers, I mean, like government school teachers. They would only work in service and seva in some way. I think that probably had some effect, or hospitality, like completely in dedicated to someone else's happiness and pleasure. So probably why I chose waste management. But yeah, I spent 10 years in the advertising and marketing departments of many industries. So I worked for like a music school, I worked in a shipping company. My last job was with a company called Amtech Systems, and they were making like a safety app for the cops. So at
Okay.
those times I was really busy in work, but when I was in advertising and marketing, like I've done food business, I used to do casting for ads. That time I realized that, oh, I'm really an introvert. I should not, put myself in displeasure. And I was supposed to act in some movies, but I just could not do it. So
Mm,
I got into casting instead. So there was good money. So since my 20s, I had to take care of someone else's
mm,
debt or expenses. So I could never branch out and do anything on my own until wasted happened. It was actually the worst time. Like I had two people depending on me with like kidney failure, my grandma and my dad, and another relative who had lost their job. So it was so difficult for me. But at that point, like nothing could stop me. I was like, money will not be the thing to stop me this time. So my friends were like, just act in one movie, you'll get 115 lakhs or something. I was like, what? I'm not selling my soul for this. Like, I definitely know I can't do it. So I'm so glad that I didn't have to do that. But yeah.
I'm glad that things worked out also in this way.
Yeah.
Like,
It was the 2 years. 2 years, I didn't quit my job. In the second
okay.
year, I convinced my bosses to let me work as a consultant.
Oh,
So
okay.
Tuesday and
Mm,
Saturday, I would take work from home. And Tuesday and Saturday was when the organic store used to have a farmer's market. So
okay.
that's when people would come and drop off. So at that time, they would also ask me, they were like, how do you make money in this? I was like, no, no, I have work. I'm just doing this on Tuesday and Saturday. So they saw that dedication for like 2 years. And I
Okay.
think a lot about that was this. Yeah.
And in terms of future, like maybe 5 years of now, like I told, like you mentioned that Swiggy waste pickup, like that is starting.
Yeah.
Like, so you personally, how would you like your business scaling towards maybe 5 years from now? What
I
is
mean, if I can give work to like 1,500 waste pickers in just Chennai city and the app just is here, I don't even want it to be Swiggy national and all. I just want to do proof of concept in Chennai and I want to franchise it out to other waste management companies. I want to
okay?
give the knowledge transfer to them. I want them to be in the umbrella of wasted so that there's always like support and you can sign on and just be like a waste picker, scrap shop dealer that you can just use the dashboard and the app and things to run the process a little bit better. So yeah, that's the hope that a lot of people get jobs, that I have a nice job and I
Mhm.
can, just pay my rent, my dog's food and just be happy. Like literally, like I'm not that startup founder, which is why I probably, doing the Swiggy for waste management, I'd probably be that founder who puts a really good MD and CEO, and then I can
Mhm.
like probably go back to the trust and do what I want to do. So if like that financial stability and the company has like a proper growth channel, I'm very, very happy. And the growth channel I want it to be for unskilled workers. Like I don't want them to just be drivers on Swiggy or Uber. I think they have the potential to be supervisors,
Mhm.
facility managers, take care of so many things, supply chain, so many things are there that I hope that we can do for unskilled workers. So yeah, that's the ideal situation in 5 years.
No, that's nice. Like, do you have any other maybe advice for any
Young.
entrepreneurs trying to link, yeah, business with sustainability? Like, go hand in hand.
Um, yeah, for sure. We need more people to be in this space, and I'm happy to share all information because even if 100 organizations start, it's still good. There's going to be enough problems. It's just that I would say just kind of stay true to who you are. Try
Okay.
not to, do the next best thing because that kind of fizzles out. And I would also advise to work in the sector for a couple of years. I actually tried to do that. I tried to go and get a job in it while I was like, okay, why be in this software company? Let me go get a job. Then I realized no one was hiring in this space with the kind of salary I needed to sustain and
Yes.
insurance needed. So that's probably why. But I would advise that you work in any sort of background that you already enjoy, that you really care about. And I think what that brings to you is how you can work with the team, how you can be a leader, how you can do a bunch of things that are very important, that if instead you just went directly from education to starting a startup. So I think what I learned in my work life, working with other leaders, working with, project managers, people who are like 30 years, 40 years older than you, and um, like for me, PR, marketing, advertising really helped in waste management later because I got a very new look into the way we ran communications. Like that time, communications was completely, oh, landfills are burning, nobody has respect and dignity in this space. And whereas we were all like, oh, it's so fun, yay, awesome, we can still create impact. It was not at all something that, forget about the problem, just focus on the positive, actionable things you can do. So that was very much on the communication part of it. So that's personal for me, right? Like I come with 10 years of marketing and
Yeah.
advertising experience. So you will probably have work experience that will guide you towards an entrepreneurial role. I think more than teaching you what you like, it'll teach you what you don't like. You don't like
Okay.
working in teams, you don't like authority, you don't like a bunch of things. You don't have to spend a career doing that, right? You can even go and be founders in other startups or other organizing. But I just advise to work with people, not your age group, because there's going to be like a wealth of information. Like I learned the most from people who are 30, 40 years older than me when I was in my 20s. Not that they have like great things to share at the work and the job, but how to manage your team, how to deal with conflict, very real life experience. And you can see the good bosses and the bad bosses very easily, and both have a lot to teach you.
And one
I
last
just
question.
say don't stay in toxic stuff. That's all. That's the mistake
That's
we did as millennials.
I think Gen Zs are already doing that.
That's horrible. Like we didn't fight so much for Gen Zs to do that, but I hope they change. But they call out behaviors they don't like, which itself
Yeah,
is
they
great.
do it for sure. And
And I
Yeah,
just one more
indeed.
question, like you had meant, do you like right now you said that funding is a little, it's hard right now. Are you as an organization, are you doing anything to push for funding? Are there tangible impacts that you can portray? Is there any initiative from your side to push for funding?
See, anything that gets you ready for funding, the bigger sort of like Series A sort of funding rounds, if you want to go to, you have to invest a lot in infrastructure, manpower,
Mm.
even if not infrastructure, manpower, right? So the thrift store can't look this way. It has to have e-commerce. There's a lot I need to do even before I go to funding. But what
Okay.
we want to do is that we want to restructure the company and the main management part bit. And I don't have any qualms with giving sweat equity out. That's the main thing. Like, I would rather give sweat equity and bring a tech team than hire my own tech team. Whereas if I go for investment, they'll be like, "Where's your tech team? You're trying to build a
Yeah.
Swiggy or a Dunzo and you don't even have an in-house tech team." But um, they would make me do the business in a way that it's set up to fail.
Yeah.
Like I
Okay.
don't need to be spending like, 5 lakh salary when I don't even take 50K salary. Like what is the point? Right? So the idea is to make it in a way that it sustains and that the tech is only a driver to the whole concept. We are not creating anything new with the tech. It is a Swiggy, right? Like Swiggy gives me their
Yeah,
plugin and
makes sense.
Uber partner app gives me the plugin. I have my app ready. But the way we show you your impact, okay, Shweta has dropped off 10 kgs of textiles. Over 6 months, she's done this. All of this equals to her impact. And you can kind of figure that through my explaining of what I've done, how good the community is in adopting stuff like that. Every time I tell them, "Do you want any gratification?" It's like, for that, we'll go to the scrap shop. If we are
Mm-hmm.
not coming and dropping for that 10 rupees a kg or 20 rupees a kg, we are doing it for that accountability that you're giving us. So I want to give them that measurement, that impact measurement. So the way the app is going to scale is also very slowly adding, just one thing after the other, like different versions. I don't want to get overwhelmed. I want to train the waste workers, transgender community, burn and acid attack survivors. I want them to get the hang of how to run this. And yeah, this is pretty much how it's going to go. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. It's just been 2 days of
No,
like
we
talking.
understand. I
It's
think we've covered most of
happening.
what we
Yeah.
wanted to know. Yeah. Thank you so much for giving us almost 1 hour of your time. I understand how busy you were. I kept telling them as well that you were busy and
No, no,
everything.
it
I
was
was
just
like
a it's
ready
just a
to
busy month. Navratri is
yeah.
starting, a lot of events that happen before it because they can't drop off after it. That's all. It's not like I'm
Thank you
busy all the
so
time.
much.
Yeah.
Must be
I
Thank you. Thank you so
thank you.
much. It was
thank
really
you
great
so
talking to you guys. I know Daniel asked all the questions, but thank you all for listening.
Uh,
And I'm happy to do like guest sessions. I run a 25 to 30-minute session online, in person. It's a very like it's for any age group, but more for a college and IT sort of crowd, older crowd. But it's basically understanding what happens to your waste, what you can do, living a sustainable life without, getting overwhelmed.
mhm.
Yeah.
And even
I you you
sustainability
did.
as a
I
topic,
wanted to
it's
do that
always
session for you guys before we start, but I just had you guys had so many questions. So I was like, okay, don't think they would also have the bandwidth. But yeah, maybe sometime in a
For
management speaker
sure.
session, if you have, you can definitely send my profile and my email. And if I have a slot, I'm happy to do the session.
You did mention that you find it exhausting to talk to people, so I hope you are not exhausting at all.
No, no. It's because you didn't talk back too much. You just asked me questions. No, but I'm
but
always
then we
excited to
feel
talk, share my knowledge. I think that that's the half the reason I learned it. Usually, management students come to me, and recently they came from Loyola, and they were like, "Ma'am, you're telling us your full business idea, your numbers, and all." I was like, "Go start." Please start. I'll help you. In fact, don't start the 10 things I started. I'll give you one of my vertical, you go run it also and register your own company. You just give me royalty once in a while. The more people you have working, like greed is not there, right? You're not doing it. And it's not like I'm saying I'm not doing it for the money. I'm just so happy that I get to do it on my terms with after working for 10 years for people. I get to be the kind of boss I want to do. I've got to achieve so many things that were like a distant dream. Pay salary on the first of every month. Before I used to pay on like 15th, 12th, and I always used to think about how difficult it used to be for me to like pay rent when they used to give salary on like 15th and all. And yeah, past 6 months we've been able to pay on the third, and the past 2, 3 months we've been paying on the first. And we have like 80 to 20 people working part-time and full-time with us, so that's been really exciting. So these are the metrics that I measure the business on. Not that nobody like anybody cares, but yeah, it's exciting to build and be a boss that I didn't get all the time, but
Hmm.
I got to learn. Yeah.
I mean, even sustainability as a topic, it's like you said, not really everyone cares about it, but I feel over the discussion, we really find what you're doing interesting. There's so much more happening behind the
That's the hope. You
scenes.
can care by at least getting interested.
I
That's
like
what
your
happened to me,
attitude
right?
towards it as well. It's very inspiring and nice.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I mean, literally, that what I was lacking is what I wanted to bring the table. Like, I would go to events and it would be so boring. Like, I would just be like, why did I lose my one Saturday and Sunday and come to this event when there's nothing for me, nothing for kids like 10 years younger than me or like 20 years older than me. That whole, we've just been forgotten in the conversation. Only activists and governments have been talking. Whereas we are all generating the waste, like drinking at bars, going out partying, and then, we
Hmm.
are like, oh, during the floods, we are like, oh shit, did I do this? So just wanted to like, be like, okay, being aware is the first step. You don't have to always do something, but yeah, being aware is important.
Makes
So, okay, at least there are four more
Thank
people
you.
who know about this. So, thank you so much.
Thank you
And
so much.
be in touch. Good luck for your college. You're done next year, is it?
Yeah, this is our
not
last.
2026?
Soon,
6 more months.
6 months maybe.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Login
Okay.
program. Okay. 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 Take care. Bye.
Take care.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Nice talking to
Thank you,
you.
Bye.
Ram. Thank you so much.
Same here. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.